Hello YouTube, this is GBay99, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a bit of a response to some of the very good questions you were asking from my last video. For future videos that I think are informative and could generate some interesting discussion like the last video, you'll see a link to a Reddit thread in the description. If you have any questions, I suggest you go and comment. I tried to respond to nearly everyone from my last video, and I enjoy doing so. I'm not sure if I'll have many other follow-up videos like this one in the future, but I'll always try to answer any questions you may have or problems you may run into. So let's move on. In my previous video, I showed you guys how much ELO one champion can get you in solo queue. And most of you guys seem to agree with me. A good number of you said how you were able to carry yourselves 400, 500, or 600 ELO higher because you played your favorite champion almost exclusively. And some of you gave some other really good examples of people doing this, like Spam Happy. Well, today we're going to discuss some of the problems you guys pointed out of playing only one champion to gain ELO, and how you can fix them. We're going to help you find your favorite champion or role, give you some options to help you prepare if your role is taken or if your champion is banned, if your team is threatening to AFK, etc., etc. So the biggest problems that you guys pointed out are as follows. 1. What if you can't find a champion you like playing over and over and over? 2. Should you pick your favorite champion even if it means counterpicking yourself? And 3. How can I expand if my favorite champion is often banned or my favorite role is hotly contested? So let's get right to it. Number 1 is, what if you can't find a champion to play over and over and over? Now you're going to have to ask yourself a question here. Are you looking simply to gain ELO, or are you looking to be extremely good or even one of the best at one specific champion? If you're simply looking to gain ELO, try looking for 3 champions that fit into your favorite role. Maybe playing one champion for 100 straight games isn't the thing for you, but if you alternate between 3 champions, you can play only those 3 until the end of time. For instance, maybe your most played champion is Kennen. If that's the case, I would suggest you look into other spam-happy harass champions who have killing potential 1 versus 1, like Kassadin and Akali. All 3 of these champions can poke someone down with their Qs. Once they hit 6, use their gap closer, bursting the enemy for
tons of damage.
You can also expand on this and pick a champion for, say, each role. Maybe Kennen middle, Shen top, Ezreal AD, Sona support. These are all poke-heavy champions with killing potential in lane, and your favorite jungler. The same principles from last video will still apply. Even though you're switching things up every game to keep yourself from getting bored, you're still playing only 5 champions. You'll gain lots of experience with each champion, and with each game of experience under your belt, you'll have a better chance of winning the next time you play that champion. So if you're looking to become really good or one of the best at a certain champion, I'd suggest you look into a champion that can fit more than one role. Even if you main a role, playing that champion in other roles will help you gain more knowledge and understanding of that champion and the game in general. For instance, you may usually play Darius solo top, but top was taken, so you go Darius jungle. Even though you aren't playing Darius solo top, you're still learning about how much or little damage Darius does to the enemy champions and minions throughout the game. You're also gaining a better understanding of how ganks work, so the next time you're top, you'll know how to make the jungler's life easier by doing things such as calling out that the river is warded, but if he goes the long way around, then you guys can pick up an easy kill. Even though you're not playing him where he's traditionally played, you still gain plenty of knowledge from the game, and keep in mind that you also have plenty of knowledge and experience from previous games on him, making it so you'll have a better chance of winning the game you're in right now. Dyrus actually did this with Singed when Epic Gamer was swapping their lineup around. He was put into the jungle, and picked up Singed jungle very naturally due to his knowledge of the champion from top lane beforehand. Question number 2. Would you recommend picking a champion into a lane, even if it means countering yourself? That's a very good question, and the answer is it depends. For instance, I mentioned that I played a lot of Ahri and that she's given me 420 ELO. Now, back when I was playing her exclusively in solo queue, I often got yelled at for picking her into quote-unquote counter lanes. People like Swain, LeBlanc, and Ryze who do quite well against Ahri. Yet despite that, I was still able to win games. And there are a couple of reasons why. 1, just because you get counterpicked in your lane doesn't mean it's the end of the game. Worst case scenario, you should just farm what you can, don't die, and wait until teamfights late game. 2, if you're in a role that can do it effectively, roaming can be a very good way to help alleviate your disadvantage. For instance, if Singed is getting zoned by Yorick top lane, Singed may want to go and try and pick up a kill middle or in the jungle, or he could go and try and get his team to do dragon. 3, just because you got counterpicked doesn't mean you have to lose your lane. Like I said, even though they counterpicked me as Ahri, I was still able to do fine versus my opponent most of the time. By knowing how much damage my champion does at certain levels, I was able to play passively until an opportunity arose where I could pick up a kill. Counterpicking does exist and it can have a huge effect on the game, but most of the time, the more experienced or just flat out better player will win in the end. The third question is, what should I do if my favorite champion is often banned or if my favorite role is hotly contested? Now, an example of this would be if your favorite champion is Shen, but he's typically banned, or your favorite champion is Kennen and mid is a hotly contested role. To this, I would suggest looking at the first answer to question 1. Each player combats this differently based on what his favorite champion or playstyle is, but you should probably try to look into a champion that's good at many roles or find other champions you love playing for other roles. But keep in mind that a good attitude will change everything. Just because you're only playing one or a few champions doesn't mean you should start being a dick to your team. Saying mid or AFK never makes anyone happy. If you try to explain to your team that you're at your absolute best when you're playing a specific champion in a specific role, then especially at higher elos, your team will feel much better about giving you your role, and someone else is much more likely to step up and take the role you were going to be forced into. And the good news is, the higher and higher your elo gets, the more and more likely people are to cooperate. People realize that when you're at your best role, that increases the whole team's chance of winning. If you feel like you're always stuck with someone saying mid or AFK, the good news is it only gets better. You've got nowhere to go but up. Hopefully I've answered most of your questions from my last video. I have another video on a new topic coming soon, and a very cool one that I think you'll all like following it. I won't say much about them, but I will say that you'll become a much smarter player, and you'll probably gain a fair bit of elo if you take the advice given. But for now, it's back to solo queue. It's time for us to grind these last couple days of Season 2. I wish the best to any of you who are close to silver, gold, platinum, or even diamond, but just not there yet. If you like this video and are interested in more, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thanks for watching, good luck in solo queue, and have a wonderful day.